Pirates, evildoers who travels on the silent sea, part of the moonlight and the ocean. They are the reason why most treasures are cursed. What if they are still here even after death? And what will happen when they calls you into the mist? Gumbaya Land is located close to the mouth of Bayo Kalu, right off the coast of Louisiana. People claim that a cruel and barbaric pirate who buried his wealth there is haunting the area. The spirit of the pirate is said to return every night after dark to guard his gold. The young fisherman named Lois once heard the narrative and pondered its veracity. This was many years ago. Although he didn't believe in ghosts or other supernatural beings, he frequently dreamed of being wealthy by discovering the whereabouts of the pirates' hidden treasure on the island. Lois left his home late one night and headed to the bayou, where his tiny boat was moored. He dragged the boat up on the shore after rowing over to the tiny island. When Lois reached the island, he looked around and noticed two trees that were intertwined. By scanning the area, he pulled his shovel from the boat and started digging under the light of the moon, because it appeared to be a likely location for pirates to bury their treasure. Lois kept on digging the place with full of expectations. Suddenly, he heard a sound out of the blue, and when he looked around, his boat was gone from the land. He quickly ran towards the boat to get it back. After chasing it, he brought it back to land and tied it to a tree. He went back to his digging after that. Just 2 or 3 feet had been dug before, he encountered another sound. Lois began to shiver, and his breathing became hard. He was inquisitive about the sound, but also slightly frightened about what it might be. He wanted to find out who was making it. He almost lost his mind as he glanced over his shoulder and saw what he did. Lois saw 3 pirates had standing behind him. They were covered in seaweed and completely drenched. Each of them was holding a long knife that was covered in blood and had an enraged expression on their faces. Lois was terrified and trembling. He put down his shovel, got to his knees, and pleaded for God to spare his life. He could feel the presence of the coast pirates getting closer to him. Still he continued the prayers without giving up. The coast abruptly disappeared before his eyes as he was finishing the prayer. Much to his surprise, after exhaling a sigh of relief, Lois sprinted to his boat, pushing it into the sea. He started to row for his life. Even though he had rowed quite a ways away from the island, the image of what he had just seen would not leave his mind, and he continued to feel strangely uneasy. He suddenly sensed the same presence he had felt on the island, only this time it was more powerful and wicked. He turned around and saw a large pirate seated on his butt. The pirate wore a thick belt over his coat and long earrings that sparkled like fireballs in the moonlight. He had tentacles crawling all over his long black beard. Seaweed knotted in his hair, and he was dripping wet. He was holding a gun in one of his large hairy hands, and a bloody cutlass in the other. Lois understood that this had to be the vicious pirate everyone had been talking about. That ghost pirate was focusing on Lois. Lois was trembling in fright, his eyes wide, and his teeth chattering. Lois rowed as quickly as he could. Suddenly, Lois heard loud gunshots as they got further away from the island. When he glanced around, the pirate was standing up, laughing horribly, and sliding over the side of the boat. Lois observed as the pirate sank into the water like a corpse. He sank without any bubbles following him. It was almost dawn when Lois arrived home, and his wife was waiting up for him. As the waves washed her feet, she was standing. Lois exited his boat and headed in the direction of his wife. She did not answer when he called out to her. She appeared to be staring at the sea despite his repeated calls to her. Lois reached out to grab her arm but quickly realized he was unable to touch her. His touch simply passed through the hand of his wife. He then felt something unusual, which made him unable to believe what had just happened. He noticed that he was bleeding, as he put his hand on his chest, and noticed a gunshot wound. He became aware that he was no longer alive at that point. The moon shone directly at his wandering soul, as he vanished. If Lois had gone to the land, he could still be alive, because some mysteries are left to be buried, for a reason. Now he roams as one of the lost souls, forever.